So many times there are situations in which our standard everyday carry firearms and tools are not permissible for our environment. Whether that is for comfort or some other reason, there's many times where that full to mid-sized gun or the way we normally carry that firearm may not be permissible to the environment we're in. So today I want to go over some options that still allow you to be an effective protector when you can't be carrying your standard everyday carry loadout. Really quick before we get to the good stuff, I do want to put in a disclaimer. This video is a supplement to the law. It is not a replacement for the law. Do not look at what I'm saying or what type of methods of carry I'm talking about without first looking at your local and state and federal laws. Be aware of those things, because the last thing I want is someone getting in trouble ultimately because they're trying to do the right thing. They're trying to be a protector, and due to some law that's out there, they end up getting in trouble. So pay attention to those things. Be cognizant of those things. Make sure you research those things before utilizing any method of carry I talk about today. But otherwise, guys, let's get to the rest of the video. So first, talking about that everyday carry rig, that standard rig I'm carrying with me every day, and a lot of people do. You're looking at something like a Glock 19, right? A mid to full-size gun, maybe a spare reload, an appendix, and it conceals pretty well most of the time. It carries pretty well. It's pretty comfortable, but it's not good for all situations. Sometimes you might need to go to a smaller gun. I have this Springfield Hellcat here. It's basically the smallest gun I own at the moment. And this is great for certain situations where maybe I want to print a little bit less. Maybe I want something a little lighter based on the clothing I'm wearing. I'm wearing, board shorts. I'm wearing sweatpants, and all I have is a drawstring. Something like the Hellcat that's lighter, has a little bit less capacity, depending on the configuration. Something that has a shorter grip and a thinner grip so there's less printing. There can be a lot of benefit to something like this. It allows me to be a little more covert with my concealment, conceal a little bit better, and have a lighter, somewhat more comfortable package. Sometimes even something like the Hellcat still won't do the job, especially when it comes to physical activities. So when I'm talking about things like going to the gym and working out, rock climbing, yoga, bungee jumping, whatever it is you're doing, a standard appendix carry rig, even with a smaller handgun like the Hellcat, might not do the trick, simply due to comfort or simply due to the fact that I want to wear some nice tight-fitting gym clothes. Maybe that's the sort of stuff you like to wear. Well, you're not going to be able to conceal a handgun or any firearm or any tool very well when you're wearing, more form-fitting athletic clothing. So that's where something like this Tight Shoots Voyager Fanny Pack comes in. Now, I do have a full review on the channel. If you want more information about it, if you want to learn more about it, check out the full review. But in short, I really like it. I do recommend it. Now, what's so great about this Fanny Pack and Fanny Packs in general is comfort, right? I can run, I can work out, I can do all sorts of things that are more physical, and I don't run into the issue of a gun rubbing up against me, it restricting my ability to bend and manipulate my body in certain ways. What's great about the Fanny Pack is I can move it around all sides of my body. So if I'm doing something in the front, maybe I'm rock climbing, I can move the Fanny Pack to the back. Maybe I'm doing a certain workout where it'd be more comfortable if it's to the side. So I have all that maneuverability. And if I do want to take it off, I can take it off pretty easily, to go to the bathroom, something like that. And then easily clip it right back on. It just uses a buckle. So Fanny Packs work really well for that comfort thing. However, there's another factor to consider as well when running that Fanny Pack, and that is concealment. Even the smaller guns like the Hellcat can still print when there's wind, when there's certain factors. Even the Hellcat's gonna print. However, nothing's gonna print out of this Fanny Pack. It's in the Fanny Pack. No one's gonna see it. And what's great about the Fanny Pack is no one expects the guy with the Fanny Pack to have a gun. Right? It looks like it's a fashion statement. Maybe you're a tourist, maybe you're a dad, but you're probably not someone packing heat. But in reality, you could be the guy carrying the gun. Now, something to avoid, and this is going to kind of be a consistent narrative throughout the video, is avoid the tactical looking stuff, right? Don't get those 511 Fanny Packs, the ones with this weird camos, even from Tight Shoots, the weird tactical looking Fanny Packs. I don't recommend them. If you're trying to be super covert, right, maybe it is just for carry and you don't care about concealment, then get the cool multicam Tropic or whatever. But if you care about being covert, about being the gray man, I would get something in black and blue in a very basic generic color that doesn't make it look like a tactical bag. Especially, like I said, those 511 bags that has the big 511 logo and it has all that tactical look. It has Molly on it or something. That's going to be pretty obvious, and to anyone with a keen eye, the keen observer, they're going to think there might be a gun in here, some sort of firearm or tool. So going with the simpler Fanny Packs, the ones that may not look as cool, those are going to be much better if you're trying to be much more covert about carrying a firearm. Now, another option that I'm not a huge fan of, but if you can't go with a smaller gun or even a Fanny Pack, you can look into off-body carry. So this is a Vertex bag. I believe it's the commuter, and it's a sling bag, so you sling it around your back and your shoulder, and you carry it around. Works great. It has this nice little pull tab here. I pull this, and I can open it up and reveal a Glock 17 in here in a holster. I have this whole Velcro panel. I could fit all sorts of stuff in here, right? Maybe even a small folded up PDW. And while it's nice to have this, full-size Glock 17, Glock 19, even if I want to put the Hellcat in there, I could. Or like I said, a PDW or even a folded rifle or a partially disassembled rifle. The problem with off-body carry, and the reason I'm not a huge advocate of it, is it is a very easy target for thieves, right? If you're away from your bag for just a second, someone could come by, snatch that bag, it's gone. And now not only are you out of your firearm, but you've just armed a criminal. And the big issue with off-body carry as well, especially with women, purses, right? What do muggers and robbers look for? It's the purse, right? The purse has the wallet, it has the keys, it has the cash. It's going to have everything that they're looking for to either get their next high or pawn it or whatever. So they grab that purse and that has your firearm in it. They grab that sling bag and that has your firearm in it. How are you going to defend yourself? How are you going to stop them? Maybe they also have a firearm. Maybe they have a knife and they still want to continue to threaten you. Well, now you've allowed yourself to be disarmed. So that's why I'm not a huge fan of off-body carry. The Fanny Pack's about as off-body as I like to go. But if you need to, there are options out there. Now, I don't recommend the Vertex bag. When I first got the Vertex bag years ago, it was very gray man. No one knew who Vertex was. Now Vertex is a very popular brand, and law enforcement, security, and especially criminals now know what Vertex is. A lot of people know the brand Vertex. So that means you're not going to get that same gray man nature. And this bag has a very recognizable look. All the Vertex bags do. They have the logoing on their zippers. They have that textured material, that look that kind of looks a little bit extra. And, of course, those pull tabs that they've got are very famous, very obvious. Anyone who knows Vertex that, hey, there might be a gun in here. So I don't recommend them. If you are going to off-body carry, just get an Adidas bag, a Nike bag, a random bag off Amazon, something that doesn't look tactical, not some weird Molly super tactical hiking bag. Just get a regular gym bag, sports bag, backpack. If you do want to carry off body, but like I said, I am not a fan. Now, the last thing I want to discuss when it comes to carrying a firearm in those non-permissive environments is things like the life card. So the life card is a little fold-out thing that is a little bit thicker than a credit card, and it's a fold-out single-shot .22. Not the most effective firearm out there, but you could argue it's better than nothing, and you definitely have a better chance getting it into one of those non-permissive environments where you can still have a firearm on you to have some level of protection, but it's nothing rapid deployment, and it's not going to be anything super effective. I'm not a huge fan of them. I don't own one. There's also like a 380 like double stack barrel system or 9mm, I believe, that folds into something that looks like a cell phone. While those are fine, I'm not a huge fan of them. I would rather either have a firearm or I'm in an environment where I can't carry anything, and anything firearm at all is I'm gonna get caught, or not in the legal sense, but more of simply policy or that business to be like, hey, we're not gonna let you in here because you have a firearm or whatever. I'm not a fan of those because you could still be crossing that line, and I don't find them to be super effective, as there is quite a long deployment time for both of those. But depending on your situation, depending on the circumstance, it might be something you can still carry, and it is better than nothing. So next, I want to talk about knives, specifically fixed blade knives. I don't recommend folding blade knives for anything defensive. I really recommend, obviously, if you have to use it, but I recommend a nice fixed blade knife for anything defensive. This is from Cricut. It's about $20 with the sheath and everything, and it even comes with a clip. I just put a discreet carry concept clip on here, but there's plenty of other clips out there you can put on, and like I said, it comes with one. And what's great about this is it's a nice sharp blade. It's not massive and huge, so it's good for some of that close quarters knife stuff. You've got some finger grooves here, so you can grab onto it and ensure it's not going to slip and cut your hand open if you're using it in any fashion, whether it's like this or like this, whether it's a tool or a weapon. You don't have to worry about that, which is nice. So it's a good grip, and it is a full tang knife. And it's, like I said, it's like $20. So if I accidentally bring this somewhere I shouldn't, or somewhere where it's not illegal but it's against the policy, and it gets confiscated, it's not a big deal. I'm not like, oh no, I'm out my $150 custom knife. No, it's a $20 knife. If I'm out $20, I'm out $20. It is what it is. It's my fault for bringing it. But it's not a huge deal if I do lose it either. So something like this, cheap knife, something you can still defend yourself with. Is it a huge step up from just your hands? Not necessarily, but Something like this in a deadly force encounter, I would definitely take it over nothing. Now, the last real tool and weapon is going to be plastic or other material knives. So this knife here, I don't really use it for anything. It's more just something I own. But this is all polymer. There's no metal or anything in this knife as far as I know. Like I said, I've never really tested or used this for anything. But a knife like this, it has an edge. It has a little bit. It is a little bit sharp. It is pointy. It may not pierce very well. It might be more of a pain compliance tool, but you could use it as a weapon as well. And this is, you can put in your boot. You can put in a sheath if you have one for something like this. And it may not be detected by metal detectors, by wands, stuff like that, vent security. So something like this you could still carry in those non-permissive environments and still have some sort of weapon or tool. And then something even better is going to be something like Black Triangle Group's knives. Their knives are made out of G10 and they're a lot higher quality. They are not cheap. You're looking around $80 to $100 for one of their knives. This is the PCTL, the Pain Compliance Tool Lethal. So it actually has a point and an edge to it. And it has a little sheath, and everything here is plastic. There's no metal, plastic clip, plastic sheath, no eyelets or anything like that on there. That is metal, even holding the kydex together. It's all tied together with this string. Obviously, this is all G10, which is that kind of grip material. If you're familiar with firearms or knives or anything, you know what this is. But essentially, it's not metal. So what's great about this is it's a push dagger, so I can box, I can punch with it. I don't have to be a knife expert or something, so I can still just use this like I would just be punching someone, but instead I am giving them a lot more pain than a standard punch, and possibly something lethal if I'm in that deadly force situation. So this is definitely a good option. It's not cheap, but also it's probably going to be undetected because it is, all G10, it's all polymer. Mostly it's polymer kydex string, so it's not something like this knife where I'm going cheap because I don't want it taken. This, I'm going a little more expensive because to get something good that's plastic, essentially, is not going to be cheap. But what's great is it's going to be undetected. It's very small, doesn't have a huge signature either way. And if I need it, if I'm in that close quarter situation or I've got a lethal threat, I can deploy this and I can still utilize it. Well, it's not as good as a gun. It's pretty damn good for something that will basically go through most things other than an X-ray. So the last tool, weapon, other method of carry I want to talk about is your hands, right? Your hands can be a very effective tool and weapon. There are people out there that essentially you could consider lethal with just their hands, experts in martial arts, experts in fighting, and you can become one of those too, right? You can get the training, you can get the know-how, you can get the experience to be able to use your hands. And while you may not be a black belt, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Kung Fu master or whatever, having good empty-handed skills is very important. The ability to deal with and fight someone when you don't have even something like this, and especially you don't have something like this, or maybe it's a situation where none of those things are applicable. Maybe it's not deadly force, but you still have someone trying to fight you. You need to be able to defend yourself. You can't rely on a firearm in a situation where this is not morally and legally justified to deploy. You might be in a situation where someone's trying to physically fight you, and either you physically fight back, or maybe you have no other options based on the situation you're in. Maybe escaping is not an option. Maybe you're in one of those gun-free zones where a lot of these mass shootings take place, and you've tried to run, you've tried to hide, now it's time to fight, and all you've got is your hands and maybe some improvised weapons. So, be aware of the environment around you, see what's around you, bottles, kitchenware, heavy objects, anything that can be used as a weapon, and of course, your hands, the ability to use your body as a weapon, right? Hands, elbows, your head even, your knees, your feet. All these things can be used as weapons against a deadly or just a regular threat. And it's something I think a lot of people overlook in favor of getting tons of training with this, or maybe even some training with this, but they don't get training with these. So get training with your hands, get knowledge, get experience. So that way, if you're in a situation where either you don't have a firearm or some other tool, or you're in a situation where, like I said, you can't morally and legally deploy those other tools, be able to use your hands. It's an important tool to have a level of mastery over. Alright guys, if this video is useful to you, if you like discussing these alternative methods to either carrying a firearm, carrying some other tool, go ahead and leave a like down below. If you are a rabid fan of the anti-gun movement and you want every American citizen disarmed and a target for criminals, well, there's a dislike button for a reason. Otherwise, guys, head into those comments. Tell me about the ways that you like to carry, alternative methods of carry, alternative tools that you can carry when you can't carry a firearm, stuff like that. I'd love to hear about it down in the comments section below. Otherwise, guys, I'm trying to be a little more consistent with those uploads. I know I missed last weekend's, but other than that, I'm trying to upload new videos every Saturday. Subscribe and stay tuned.